Hi, I'm Katie,
And I'm Yarlin.
and this is Fae and Fables, a podcast hosted by two mental health counselors who take a psych deep dive into your favorite fantasy and romantasy books. Today, we're going to deep dive into House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas.
Woo!
We are fired up. We are Twitter-pated, and we'll get into why, but we're fired up.
Yeah. Well, before we get into it, we're going to go over our disclaimers and spoiler warnings. So please note this episode contains spoilers for the first two books in the Crescent City series, House of Earth and Blood, House of Sky and Breath, and the ACOTAR series. So keep that in mind. We already covered ACOTAR, so it's just assumed, if you have not yet read it or listened to our episodes, maybe it's best to go do that and then come back. Additionally, several potentially triggering emotional and or traumatic themes may be discussed, which could be impactful or upsetting. Note that adult language and themes are used in the discussion of this book. Please take care of yourself and use caution if you're not in the space to engage with these conversations. Mental health disclaimer. This podcast is hosted by two licensed mental health counselors, but it should not be used to diagnose, treat, or address any individual mental health concerns or conditions. The knowledge, opinions, and experiences we express related to mental health are our own and should not be applied as treatment. This is just for fun. If you feel you need mental health treatment, please seek out your own individualized mental health care. So for our order of events, we're going to do our rankings and ratings, where we discuss our star and chili pepper rating, and as well, where we would put this book on our bookshelf relative to the other books we've read. Our teehee moments, so quotes and moments that had us kicking our feet or clutching our pearls. The counselor's couch, where fantastical psych meets real world. And the red flag court, where we take turns offering up cases and we decide, is it a red flag?
Is it?
And lastly, what's up in the realm, where we discuss what we're reading. That's what's coming up for the podcast and where you can contact us.
Excellent. I am fired up about this one. And I cannot wait to get literally every section when you name them. I'm like, yes, and that, and that. So we're fired up.
Yes.
And to start with our rankings and ratings today, we always like to give a little bit of an introduction to the story, a little review of what happens overall, especially with these books. They're so long, so much happens. So I think it just helps to have a reminder of what all went down. So House of Sky and Breath is the second book in the Crescent City series, and it follows the story of the half-fae, half-human Bryce Quinlan, as well as her mate, Angel Malachim Hunt Athalar. And they try and totally fail to keep a low profile after the events of the first book, House of Earth and Blood. The Asteri basically threatened them. The Asteri are these beings who are the ruling deities of Midgard. And they told Bryce and Hunt that they're not to make any trouble moving forward. But as happens in every good fantasy book, trouble finds them. And it finds them in the form of some new information about a thunderbird named Sophie Renast and her brother Emil. Bryce and Hunt are joined by Bryce's brother, Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae. Their friends, Ethan Holstrom, Therian Kitos, Tristan Flynn, and Declan Emmon, as they and every other power player in this realm try to search for Emil Renast, and for the reason behind Sophie's past connections to, surprise, surprise, Danica Fendir. As always, Danica's doing sneaky things, telling no fucking body. Along the way, they call themselves Team Fuck You toward the end of the book. Along the way, Team Fuck You finds and saves Emil from the power elites of Lunathian. They get involved with the Ophian Rebellion, which is this human-led rebellion against the Asteri and against the Vanir. This includes Pip Asbestos, Rune and Bryce's cousin Cormac get involved. Another Malachim / shifter named Baxian, who is actually Danica's mate. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And shock of all shocks, Lydia Servos, aka the Hind. All of them are involved in this rebellion in some way. um and ultimately they end up working together in several ways. There's like crazy events that happen throughout, and what you discover at the end through Bryce and Team Fuck You's work is that the Asteri have been feeding off of the magic of Midgard like parasites. And they've been doing this across worlds for eons. So basically, they go world to world, they siphon and suck up the magic of whatever worlds they inhabit, and then they destroy it and move on to the next one. And so that is what's happening with the Asteri. And they basically are like, it's like battery levels. It's like Regulus, 65% power.
Yeah.
And they've been taking the first light of all the people of Midgard and using it to power themselves up. Crazy stuff. And then you find out their second light too. So when people die, everyone's been thinking, oh, you go to this magical land of safety and prosperity. No, in death, the Asteri collect second light. And then you don't end up in a peaceful realm. Your essence gets absorbed by the Asteri. Wild stuff.
Yeah.
Despite everything we learn and all of the accomplishments of Team Fuck You, in the end, Hunt, Rune, and Baxian are captured by the Asteri, specifically by one of the leading Asteri, Regulus, and Bryce tries to teleport to Hell so that they can help overthrow the Asteri. You learn that the people of Hell, it's not hell like we think of it, Hell, lowercase h, it's capital Hel, and they have been trying to destroy the Asteri for eons, and the Asteri have been basically demonizing them to the people of Midgard. So Bryce goes through a portal to try and find the people of Hell, and in a shock to Bryce and every person who reads this book, she ends up in Prithian with Rhysand and the gang. And this is why we needed ACOTAR spoiler warning, because in the very last scene, you realize that Bryce is with Rhysand and Nesta, Cassian, Amryn, and Feyre.
Everybody. Yeah.
Mind blown, dude.
Yeah, my jaw dropped when I read that last part. It was crazy.
Girl.
It's like the least thing you expect.
Oh, okay. So Yarlin and I talked about this before we got on the pod here, but I have to say it here as well. When I read this, no one I knew had read it. I was alone, 2 a.m. in my bed. I couldn't even make loud noises. I live with other people. I'm like screeching quietly. And I literally sat my family down the next day and explained the whole thing to them. I was like, sit down. You need to know about this. And they don't read fantasy. They don't care. They were like, okay. I'm like, no, you don't get how crazy this is.
Yeah, I was telling my husband that, like, after I finished it, I was like, no, because it connects to the other books. And there was bat wings, and this is like, it's all connected. He's like, wow, that's cool.
Great. Okay. And you're like,
he's like, how many books are left?
I mean, we're still going. Yeah. So also, Yarlin and I talked about this because I've read these before, and Yarlin, this was your first time reading Crescent City 2. Mm-hmm. I had to hold in all my excitement. And I asked you a couple of times, like, I was like, so how far are you in? Like, but I wanted to make it casual because we usually don't, like, we're not like, hey, how many pages? Like, we kind of like read them in our own time. So I was trying to play it very casual, but I was like sitting on my hands being like, I need to know when you get there. So it's all very exciting.
And I was reading slow this time around. So if I would have known that that's what you were asking.
But here's the thing. I can't tell you how excited I am, right?
True.
Because then you get suspicious. You're like, why are you being so pushy about this? Like, I have to act like it's just any other. I'm just like, yeah, well, so how much percentage are you through? Like, anyway. So I'm Twitter pated. We're all Twitter pated that we're
so
here
excited
and we're getting to talk on this level. So I really want to know, Yarlin, what are your rankings and ratings on this one? Your stars, your chilies, your shelf.
Yes. Well, I'm giving it 4 stars. Okay. Just because I do feel like And I know that there's reasons why the middle, it felt like a slump. It felt really like over drawn out and long for me, but I
Mm-hmm.
know that there is like lots of lore and things in there, but I definitely had a hard time reading the middle part. I just felt like maybe the book could have been 500 pages. The last 200 pages, elite, like it was great, but that whole middle, yeah, it was a little rough. But I still give it 4 stars just because I think overall the book was really good. I think it's just expected. Like sometimes long books like that just have like some tough parts because there's a lot of dialogue and like depends on like your attention span. I also read this at night and I'm like falling asleep sometimes. So, it's like depending on like where you're at in life too. But 4 stars, definitely loved it. I gave it 3 chili peppers because I felt like it was pretty good, pretty spicy, I would say, and it's on my second shelf.
Yeah. Okay. I concur with what feels to be the middle slump. And I gave her 5.
Yeah.
You blow my mind like that. You make me question my whole reality. And I got to tell you, first time I read all these books, I was not tracking it at all. Cuz first time I read something I'm like, what's happening to them and who gets
Right.
together. Like I'm
Right.
very, it's like plot driven. And
Mhm.
so I was taken totally aback. And if you get me that good, you're
Yeah.
getting a 5 from me. And I think to now have this, I think was my second or third time reading Crescent City too. I think the like middle slump, and we talked a little bit about this, it's so packed with lore. And so I had a little bit more patience for it this time around than I did the first time I read it. I felt the exact same way the first time. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, what are we talking
I'm like,
about?
let me get to the action. Like, I want
Yeah.
to see what's
Yeah.
going on.
So I gave her a 5. I also gave 3 chili peppers. I was a little annoyed at the top when they were like, we're going to wait till winter
Oh my gosh.
solstice to have sex. I'm like, y'all, and if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. You all might die tomorrow.
Mhm.
Do you really, this is what you want to stand on business about? Like,
Yeah,
and ultimately,
I
yeah.
knew that we were both going to be like, are we serious?
Like all
like
of book 1
like
is
what is
like,
this for?
yeah, who is this for? And I get it. They're like, we're trying to get to know each other as people. Okay, you could do both.
You
Nespa, I
could.
don't
You
know.
could.
I don't know. So, and I ended up giving it 3 because it did end up being spicy. I
Yeah.
feel like we had to wait a little bit, but they didn't make it to solstice, number 1. And number
Mhm.
2, once it popped off, it really popped
Yeah.
off. It was really good. And this is a shelf one for me. Like I said,
Okay.
you take me unawares like that. You take me surprised like that.
Yeah. It's a
For that
pretty
reason
good
alone.
surprise. It's a pretty good surprise. You know what's so funny? I feel like in rereading order of like which series I would reread first, I think I do Throne of Glass. Like Throne of Glass is definitely in my top shelf. I think I would do ACOTAR and then Crescent City, but let's see how it ends.
Like in
But
like which how you would rank them?
yeah,
Okay. Oh, that's such a good question. I think it is often tying for me between Throne of Glass and ACOTAR, but
interesting.
I think ultimately it is Throne of Glass. Like there's just something about Throne
There's
of
just
Glass.
something so beautiful about
Mhm.
that story.
Mhm.
And as long as a series as it is, it's just so
You get so
amazing.
wrapped up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
think it
still
would
think
be
about it. I still think about it. So whenever we're
oh,
ready to do a reread, I'm ready.
oh girl. I love Throne of Glass. So yeah, I think it would be Throne of Glass, like ACOTAR by a hair. And I think even because the benefit that Throne of Glass has that ACOTAR and Crescent City don't is they're not done yet. Like
Right. Right.
Throne of Glass, you get the full like sweeping 8-book thing.
True.
We're on book what is it 5 for for ACOTAR
Yeah, I
and
think
book
so.
3 for Crescent City. So I think in some ways Throne of Glass has this longevity to it that the others
Mhm.
don't yet. But
Yeah.
I think it would be Throne of Glass by a hair and then ACOTAR, and then not that far. Some people it's like they're like and Crescent City is a drop down. Not for me. Like it's like Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, and then like Crescent
Yeah.
City. Like all like God tier series to me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something about Throne of Glass. Anyway, so we got all up in this book and we got all Twitter pated. And in that vein, we were collecting teehee moments like a couple of little squirrels. Yarlin, what are your teehee moments for this book?
Okay, so I had to do a little crop because compared to your teas, you've got lots.
I will select a few. I'm not going to read all of them, but I did want them all recorded. I'm like, every time I teeheed, I wanted it recorded.
Oh my goodness. So I definitely got a lot of cute moments. It's there were definitely the spicy moments, but I thought there were some other ones that I was just like, oh, that's so sweet. So we'll get into this first one is a spicy one, but either way. Page 32. Hunt and Bryce were going to some ballet or something, and he says, "Want to count my abs when we get home from the ballet?"
Yeah, I do. Like,
yeah. Is he being a little bit of an alpha hole? If I have to hear that one more time. Is he being a little like, cocky saying that? Yeah, but
it's like well earned though.
Sounds like that's a nice activity.
Yeah. Play a little canasta, count abs, like a typical evening,
Mm-hmm. Yes. My next one, page 40. She smiled despite herself. It was one of his many gifts, making her laugh, even when the world seemed inclined to humiliate and shun her.
I love this quote.
Yeah.
Their banter, and I love their little banter that everyone else is like, y'all are weird. And they're just like popping off.
Yeah.
It's so sweet. And I think Hunt has the unique ability to understand her, that because he's the Umbra Mortis, right? So people are jeering and leering at him all the time. So he knows what it feels like. And he has had a longer time to like be in that position. So it's like he helps her learn to cope through humor. And I just think it's so cute.
Yeah, I definitely love their dynamic. It's definitely one of those relationships that you're like, I think Sarah just does really great like power couples like that. So I think they're definitely really good. Page 47, she needed time to sort it out, and Hunt would give it to her. Anything Bryce wanted, anything she needed, he'd gladly give it to her. So these moments were the one that got me in the book. It's like the sweet ones.
Oh yeah, the heartwarming.
Mm-hmm. Page 199. Well, since we're dabbling in some seriously dangerous shit, now's probably a good time as any to admit I don't want to wait until winter solstice.
Hey.
For what? This. Hunt met her halfway, unable to contain his groan as he hauled her against him, lips finding hers at the same moment. Their bodies touched. He could have sworn the fucking world spun out from under him at the taste of her.
Wow.
That was a good one.
And
I like how they finally decided we can't wait.
Yeah. Well, and they aligned with how you and I talk about it. They're like, listen, with all this dangerous shit happening, we probably should get a move on. And I was like, exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I wish you had figured it out 50 pages ago, but get on it.
Yeah. So this other one is connected, is like the next page over after they're doing their thing. Page 200. She was his and he was hers. Utterly fucking hers. Good one. Page 255. This is Hunt talking to someone. If I'd gone to you in Nina, I never would have come here to Lunathian. I never would have met Bryce. And every horror, every nightmare, all of it had been worth it for her. Ugh, I love this man. He's so
he's such a simp for her.
Yeah.
In like the sweetest way possible. Like he's just. And I love the sentiment of like everything that has happened to me so far. And in that quote, he's talking to Celestina, and Celestina is
her
trying to apologize to him for not coming to his aid sooner while he's being tortured by Sandriel. And I love this sentiment where he's like, I needed, everything that happened to me had to happen for me to be here, so I can't really regret any of it. And
Yeah.
I just think that sentiment is so sweet.
Yeah. And I love that way of thinking too, where it's
Mm,
like, it's not so much like regretting the past. It's more like it all happened for a reason and it's
mm.
to have me in this moment. So I do like that way of thinking too.
I agree. Have you ever watched The Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher? I don't remember who plays the female lead.
I
Well, it
don't remember.
so you actually might like I it's a little bit psychological, but it's like it's kind of dark, and so
Mm.
the whole thing is he can go back in time, and I don't remember how he does it, but he can go back in time and change the past, and then he gets to see like how it impacts the future. And and I won't give too much away, but he changes things sort of at the start of his life, and every time he gets to the end it's like, no, this isn't right, go back, no, this isn't
Ah,
right, go back. And like it the to me the message of the movie is about the fact that, like, even if you were to go back and change things, it means that you wouldn't be the person that you are today. Like, with
yeah.
all of the hard moments and the things you didn't expect and the things that are not your favorite. And so I am also a proponent of like not even if I could go back and change something from my past, I don't think I would, because I wouldn't
Yeah.
get to be who I am today with the people that I have in my life today.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes at least I can get in that mindset of like, oh, I wish I shouldn't have done this type of thing.
Mm,
And it's like you kind of like go back and overthink certain things. But then you have certain people in your life that bring you down of like, well, no, like all of that had to happen for this to be this way now. So I think
mm.
sometimes when you're like maybe with that mindset of like rethinking your past, and then you have someone who is like, no, don't do that.
They're like, but we don't get to meet if you change that. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yep.
mhm. So, and then this is another one, page 317. Of everything I've ever been called, Quinlan, your mate will be the one I truly cherish. Love that they
Oh,
were like officially like true mates.
yes. Well, and mates in the Fey way. Like,
Yeah.
and Rune talks about that. He's like, your scent's different, your act, and then he goes into like the Fey male rage for her.
Oh yeah.
I
Would
liked that.
love that.
Would enjoy
Um
that.
and then I have two more. Page 381. He took one of her hands in his and laid their interlaced fingers atop his heart. But wherever you're headed when this life is over, Quinlan, that's where I want to be too.
Oh my god.
um,
Oh,
so sweet. My last one is 395. He's casually just doing 360 push-ups. I love that. And he listens to audiobooks when he works out. That's very
oh,
interesting.
honestly, book girl coded. Like, you, although it seems like he's listening to a lot of nonfiction.
Oh
I would
yeah.
say, Hunt, give a spicy fantasy book a try, or maybe a romance, and
Yeah.
always get new ideas in a different way. But yeah, you casually pop off 360 push-ups.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, 361, 362." I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay."
oh, Jesus. Okay. All right. Well, here's the thing. It means that, he's in a good place and a good fitness to be able to do everything he needs to do for
Right.
work or like relationships and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
just a good
His
it's a good
body's
vibe.
prepared.
Yeah, yeah, and we're not going to be specific about for what, but like just for whatever may come up, I would say.
Yeah. So those were my teehees, There's lots
Oh,
going
girl.
on. There's
Good
lots going
crop.
on. Mhm.
Good crop. I really enjoyed that. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Well, I have about 11,700 of them, but I'm not going to go through all of them. I sort of like picked out a few little nuggets, and I'm going to do my very best to not look at any of the ones that I haven't highlighted,
Okay.
because I don't want to get distracted, but there was a lot.
Okay.
The first one is not even romantic. Like, this just made me giddy because I fucking loved the like woman power of this moment. It was on page 62. Um and they meet Cormac for the first time. Cormac comes in and is like, it's Rune and Bryce's cousin, Cormac. And he's like, you will be my bride. Our fathers have arranged it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And she goes to like argue with him about it, and he interrupts her. And she responds by saying, I get that you want to play Broody Prince, but don't ever fucking interrupt me again. Ooh, I don't know why. That just felt like such a power maneuver to me. I just really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So that was one. And then page 489. And this was when he was in his like primal male rage moment. It says, lightning wrapped around Hunt's head. Rune's heart stalled a beat as it lingered, like a crown, making of Hunt an anointed primal god, willing to slaughter any in his path to save the female he loved. He'd fry every single one of them if it meant getting Bryce out alive.
Love that.
Yeah, like you just want to go into a primal fey male rage for me. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Not that I want you rageful all the time, but like,
and only
I
she
like
can calm him down.
Oh, yeah. And there's only one way to calm that down, and she's the only one who's able to do it, and we commend her for that. We salute her for her service. And we, we love that for her. Page 583, they're addressing the female rage in a very tactile way. And Hunt says, I love you undone like this, he said, moving again, setting the pace, utterly at my mercy.
Truly.
I'm undone, and like you're like eating this shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get into that.
I do like what he says.
I like your funny words, man. I like it a lot. Page 659. It's again, he just loves having her at his mercy.
Yeah, he's got a little Dom situation happening.
Oh, we love to see it. He says he liked having her at his mercy, liked this image of her wholly naked and resplendent before him, his to touch and pleasure and worship. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some good thoughts.
You guys keep going with those thoughts, hon. Keep going. And also feel free to say them out loud. Like, don't hesitate. Let us know what you're thinking. Page 662. He could never get enough of this connection, this sex, this power flowing between them. He needed it more than he needed food, water, needed this sharing of magic, this twining of souls. He'd never stop craving it.
I do love how their power like comes together and they can time travel or whatever it's called. It's so cool.
Teleport.
Their
whole like their magic comes together. They end up on like the fucking roof at one point. It's like,
that's so
y'all
cool.
need to be careful with that. Like, y'all are in a submarine. If you teleport too far, you could end up out in the reef. No air. So
definitely really cool.
Yeah. Also, he needs her more than food and water, and he never will stop craving it.
I think everyone should say that.
Yeah. If that's not being said to you, if someone's literal bodily survival is not second to the pleasure that you bring them,
then you don't love me.
What I'm hearing you say is you don't love me enough. Okay. There's two more. One is when Bryce is about to go through the portal, and Hunt and Rune and Baxia know that they're about to get like captured and royally fucked up by Regulus and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Page 785, Hunt says, I love you. I wish I'd said it more, but I love you, Quinlan. And his throat closed up, his eyes stinging, his lips brushed her brow. Our love is stronger than time, greater than any distance. Our love spans across stars and worlds. I will find you again. I promise.
That was another one. I highlighted.
It got like
I
it
did
got me this
I did
time.
cry. I shed a little tear.
Oh my god. I like and also like when they put the like thorny crown tattoo back on his brow and he either passes out or doesn't remember anymore. Like it was just heartbreaking.
Yeah,
Heartbreaking.
it really was.
And then 789, this has nothing to do with sex or being sexy or love or whatever. It's just the last line of the book. It says, "Hello, Bryce Quinlan. My name is Resand."
And the
Like,
crowd goes wild.
dude, yeah. Like, this is where you like lovingly and without hurting a book, chuck it across the room.
You're just like, whoa.
Yeah, so I had to put that. It's there's no connection to what would normally be a teehee, but like
Yeah.
it got me so fired up. Even this time, I knew what was going to happen, and I
Yeah.
got fired up. So it was just, I was Twitter pated on a whole new level for that last quote.
Yeah, no, when I read that, I was like, no freaking way. That's so crazy. Immediately
Dude.
texted Katie.
Oh yeah, and I was like, girl.
You were like, I've been waiting for this.
Sweet vindication. yeah.
I can see it now. It makes sense. Well, you were
you
so
have no
excited.
idea. You have no idea. It was the same like when we were doing Throne of Glass and ACOTAR and like
Yeah.
there, it's just, you know, there's things that you have to keep your cool or else you're going to give it away. And so to quietly keep my intensity just like, oh yeah, we're gonna do Crescent City 2, like so excited, can't wait, when I wanted to like be like like
Oh my gosh.
it's been a long journey for this
Yeah,
moment.
we need some books that we both haven't read so we can both
or
have
a
our
flip-flop where you've read it and I haven't, and we
right.
can now like you could be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And I could be like, I don't know what's happening. And you could be like, just get to page 200. Like, yeah. So anyway, we're very excited. We Twitter pated, we flittered and flitted our way through our teehees. And now it's time for the counselor's couch.
Come on in. Time to come to the counselor's couch.
Grab your tea.
Yeah. So at the counselor's couch, we connect the fantastical with the practical. We each choose a character and analyze their psychology, making recommendations as their fictional counselor along the way. We then take what's going on in their world and bring it into ours so that you can walk away with some therapist-approved psych insights. So I can go first. My character is Bryce. As I think for the next book, we're going to do a little switch up to give each other a little switch. But
you've had Bryce for a moment. She's like your girl now. Like y'all have been through a lot together.
Yeah, we've been together for a couple of months. We've been going through some things. So as we know from the last book, she is kind of like still going over like her grief and like exploring like that connection with Danica and figuring out all the things, and as well as also figuring out herself more. I thought this quote was very interesting, and I thought it was great to point out in the character analysis. In page 49, she says, guess I just sometimes catch myself enjoying a moment and worry I'm enjoying it too much, like something could come along and ruin all of this if I let myself have too much fun or get too accustomed to feeling happy. So I feel like, let's say Bryce says that in a session, I feel like I would explore that mindset with Bryce and her inability to maybe let go of future worries. And it seems like she's kind of like preparing for like that worst case scenario or something to go wrong. And that's not really a great place to be because you're never present. You're never kind of enjoying the things that you deserve to enjoy. So I feel like we would also discuss why she doesn't feel she deserves to feel happy or like enjoy that moment. As well as further process her grief, because it seems like there's still maybe some of that survivor's guilt or, some of those things that she's feeling that she's not deserving of because she lost a friend and multiple friends. So I love narrative therapy for like processing grief. I can't remember if I mentioned that last time, but that's a great way to kind of process our thoughts and our connections with that person we lost. I would want to work on separating the love for Danica from the responsibility for her, because it seems like she has this innate need to kind of like feel responsible for what happened to Danica, when it's like, like things happen all in their own way, but it was Danica's own kind of like doing, and she had her own thing going on that kind of led her to that situation. It really wasn't Bryce's fault at all. Um, Kind of exploring that the feelings of betrayal and loss, because she is also uncovering a lot of things about Danica that she didn't know. And you can tell that when you're reading the books, where she's just like, I just can't believe like she wouldn't tell me this. She didn't say anything about like the mate or anything like that. So it's just crazy that there's so many things left unsaid that you're just like, do I even know this person? Did I even know this friend?
Yes, I really like that you bring this up because it's so interesting to me that Bryce has a little bit of I'm going to keep my plans a secret syndrome, which
Mm-hmm.
Sarah J Maas seems to. There's
She
always a
does that.
character in her series. There's always somebody who's like sort of the sneaky,
Yeah.
has good intentions, but keeps things from people. And it's so interesting to watch Bryce do that to other people, simultaneously getting hurt by all the things that Danica kept from her. And
Yeah.
it's I like that you bring up narrative, because I think it's a great opportunity for Bryce to rightfully, like, whether it's through a letter or just speaking it out loud, like, what
Mm-hmm.
are all the things you would want to say to Danica that I think are really fair? Like,
Yeah.
you kept all of this from me, and like it feels
Yeah.
disingenuous. And then maybe try to connect, like, that feeling that you get when you learn that Danica kept something from you.
Yeah.
How do you think other people feel like when you do that to people? It's just such an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, so I think that's a lot of what Bryce is going through in like book one
Mm,
and two. So I feel like also developing a continuing bond that is healthier rather than like all consuming, because
mm,
I think the book started out with like that murder mystery vibe, and then like it's just continuing to like unravel what was Danica figuring out and all of this. So that can become all consuming as
mm,
we see, where it's like she's hiding things from people, she's trying to just kind of do things on her own and keep some of the plans to herself because of this really big need to figure out what she was trying to uncover.
mm,
And like when she does, it's bigger than Danica even herself was too. So I think that is a good thing to talk about with Bryce in the session. Related to the trauma, I would work on like reducing her hypervigilance, process the traumatic memories, increase feelings of safety in the present, where it's like we feel safe in the moment. We don't need to prepare and anticipate like something bad happening and taking this all away. So I think that would be good. Reducing that self-sacrifice, which I put a note here, which I think is sometimes inevitable in these type of books. I think Sarah likes to create these type of characters that just either because they have like all this like crazy power or like this responsibility of like saving people and sacrificing themselves. Like we kind of see that
mm,
what's the word? We see that theme happen, in these like
mm,
series and stuff. But at least like cognitively restructuring like some of those beliefs that she may think of, like everything is my responsibility. I must save everyone. Boundary work where it's like learning to share the burdens with trusted people. Like there's so many
mm.
people involved in this, what do they call it, like the rebel or whatever. It's like there's so many people involved, like you don't have to do it all on your own. um
Yeah. And this is the interesting interplay between Bryce doing this because she wants to figure out what Danica was doing, which I think is that, like, how much of like figuring out what Danica was doing do you want to spend your time on after, Danica has died? And then there's this interesting other side of it, which is like, and I think she really believes in the values of getting rid of hierarchies and questioning the Asteri. And there's sort of
mhm.
this bigger purpose. And so because it's a Danica thing, but and I think she wants to protect Emil too. She has sort of like stood her ground and was like, nobody's looking out for Emil. He's just like a human kid,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to make sure that he's not getting taken advantage of. So you can see her values pop up, values that I think are really great. Like, it's great to want to protect people. It's great to want to get rid of like abusive systems of power.
Yeah.
And something that Hunt says throughout the book, and this is sort of connected to the work I did around Hunt's character, he's always saying to her, like, let's be thoughtful about this. Let's like work on
Yeah.
this
Let's
together.
talk about this. Yeah.
Let's talk it out. It's not that, like, in Bryce there's such this sense of urgency, and it's like, yes, this is all important and it all impacts people's lives, and there's a way to go about this where you don't destroy yourself in the process, where you
Mm-hmm.
can rely on your community and think a second and really consider things before you jump in and go to that self-sacrificing place.
Yeah. And I like that you mentioned like the values, because that's something where I would also work on with her, is like strengthening her identity. Because as she's figuring out like her starborn thing, and then
Mm,
also maybe even being a mate and like all of those kind of like fae things, there's a lot of like the identity stuff that she's gonna figure out, like what are her values, who does she want to be. So I
mm,
think like doing some of like ACT, so like acceptance and commitment therapy, values clarification, to just integrate like all the aspects of her identity,
mm,
to see who like she wants to be a part of, the expectations that there may be on her, and making the choices based off her values rather than like an obligation to do this for this cause or for this,
mm,
unless it like means something to her. I also feel like she should increase her emotional vulnerability, to express her fears directly, accept support from her loved ones, and build intimacy without being controlled by alpha holes. I feel like that's
mm,
always mentioned a lot, and it's like not everyone is like that, but there's a lot of people who treat her badly, so I get it.
mm,
But I think that also holds her back from connection, because it's like a
mm.
defense of like, well, you're being an alpha hole right now, type of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch her contend with like anybody who shows any kind of dominance, which is again really interesting because she is a very dominant person. I think frequently she displays alpha hole behavior.
Yeah.
Now, the system that she lives in like gives power to people who are not her. And especially in the first book, but now, girl, you've got the horn, you're the starborn princess, you are a person in power now. So your actions, like when you tell Cormac, don't ever fucking interrupt me again, what if Hunt was saying that? You would
Right.
call him an alpha hole. Like, you
Yeah.
she has this dominance to her, which is so great. Like, I love seeing a female main character who's naturally, and even and this was something I tracked this time reading the book. Several times Rune sees Bryce and goes, she looks like the Autumn King right now. Like, she's
Mm-hmm.
acting like the Autumn King, or that look or that thing she's doing is very Autumn King. And he's, in her mind, he's the biggest alpha hole there is. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you have a dominant, domineering, sometimes manipulative part of you,
Yeah.
and so recognize, you throw around the word alpha hole like it's an insult, and it is in this world, but you are also kind of an alpha hole. So recognizing that, like, and Hunt says he's an alpha hole. Hunt's like, I'm an alpha hole. He doesn't, and she's, at one point they make a joke about it, and she says, something about domineering alpha holes, and he's like, well, I am an alpha hole. And she's like, oh, so you're not domineering? He's like, no, I don't think I am. Do you think I am? Like, they have
Yeah.
conversations. They're both dominant in some ways, and it's like, dominance, being dominant or being a leader or deciding things, you can do that without it being an insult, and you do it frequently. So why don't we like turn awareness
Yeah.
toward ourselves? What ways
Yeah.
are you an alpha hole too?
Yeah. So I think that's like a great question for a therapist to ask her. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I think those are great things to work on with her, because again, it's like something that we see that she is acting and doing like the things that she hates. But I think it's
Mhm.
also part of like her figuring out her, her identity and her role.
Yeah.
And it's in these high stakes. I think it can take anyone on the edge.
Mhm.
So those are the things I'd work on with her. I think
Love
for
it.
real world application, I have clients who show like similar things where it's like having a difficulty enjoying the moment because something might get taken away or like they don't
Mhm.
feel deserving of it. So I think just as I explained, I would work on that with Bryce. I think that's something that could be worked on in real world situations with clients. So it's like figuring out like why is there an inability to let go of some of those future worries, being able to work on being present in the moment, discussing like why don't you feel you deserve to be happy. I'm sure there's kind of lots of like background things connected
Mm.
to some of that, um, probably childhood trauma and things like that. And I think, practicing self-worth, I think those are all things that I would do in real world too.
Mm. Yes, and recognize I think part of her like waiting for the other shoe to drop, and when a lot of people are like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Here's the thing. The only thing constant in life is change. That comes actually from a sentiment that comes from an Octavia Butler book called Parable of the Sower, but I
Oh,
use it a lot. It's this idea that the only thing that's constant is change. And therefore, if you wait long enough, if you think in your head, when is the other shoe going to drop? Eventually it will. Something bad will happen if you are looking for it and if you wait long enough. Because
yeah.
change is constant and change also involves bad things. Like sometimes
Yeah.
change is good, sometimes it's bad. So for me, it's really about instead of let's focus all our fears and thoughts on when will something go wrong, it's why don't we enjoy the present moment and enjoy the 10 times something goes right
Mhm.
before something goes
Mhm.
wrong, because eventually it will. You'll have a bad day. Things big and small will happen that are unexpected.
Yeah.
But if you spend every and this sentiment comes out of Fantastic Beasts or whatever,
Oh.
but Eddie Redmayne, in his character whose name I'm forgetting, said, If I worry, I'm suffering twice. Like not only am I experiencing the
Mhm.
bad thing, but I've been worried about it the whole time leading up to that. And so instead of punishing ourselves twice or hurting ourselves twice, let's try to remain present and try to just face life on life's terms. And
Mhm.
then when a bad thing happens, um, take some fear out of what it would look like. Like for the most part, in the real world space, now there's fantastical stuff happening in Lunaria,
Right, right.
but in the real world space, the reality of it is that for the most part, folks handle bad things in their lives all the time and
Mhm.
are able to do so and make meaning and make it work for their lives. So you probably will be able to do the same even if it's a difficult process. There's this like acceptance and
Yeah.
living it, like you said, in that present moment.
Yeah, and I think the focusing on all the negative things or all the bad things that happen to you, it has you kind of dismissing all the good things. So like that's where
Mm-hmm.
like practicing gratitude is really helpful. Just so your mind is not always just focusing on like all the bad things that happen to you and kind of going into maybe like the victim like mentality that could happen. But again, like sometimes life just
Mm-hmm.
throws you lots of bad curveballs and like
Mm-hmm.
some bad luck. But either way, it doesn't, when you focus on that too much, it doesn't help you recognize the good parts of your life. So,
And I like that you highlight the sort of both and of it. Like
mhm.
it's not saying that you totally ignore the bad stuff. Like it's
Right.
going to happen, and giving yourself a balance. Like, okay, for every thought that I have that, oh my God, something bad's going to happen, let's give ourselves a moment of like peace or gratitude, as you said, or,
Hmm.
give our mind a little bit of a break, our brain a little bit of a break, and
Yeah.
have a little bit more balance. And when something bad happens, it's okay to own up, like own it. You don't have to pretend like everything's fine. Um,
Right.
but kind of pull towards center a little bit.
Yeah, and I think in the real world, it also, like, the way you approach this as a therapist, it depends on your kind of like therapeutic relationship, because you
Mm,
can't do that from the get with first just find like knowing this person, because then it could feel dismissive. So
mm-hmm.
it's like building the connection, having the space for this person to like express all their, all their true feelings. And then with time, with building that trust, that's where you can add some of those elements, some of like the challenging of those thoughts. So it's like you're, validating their experience, but also let's try to change some of those thoughts up. So
Mm,
yeah,
absolutely.
I think the
I
real
love it.
world, that's the difference.
I love it. Yeah. Recognizing that we're not in an intergalactic, like,
Yeah.
conflict of the ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is my counselor
Oh,
couch for
I
Bryce. Thanks for coming
hell
in.
yeah. Loved it. Loved being here. Thank you so much. The lighting is perfect. The tea is delicious.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go on over to your office.
Get over here. We're gonna go on over to Hunt Athalar's experience.
Mm.
My boy Hunt, who we've been in the therapeutic relationship for a hot second now.
Yeah.
Um so Hunt's character, there's a lot that goes on for Hunt's character. He's recovering from the events of the first book and trying to establish his life outside of enslavement. This is truly the first time in over 200 years where he can construct life the way he sees fit. And he decides to continue to work with Isaiah and the rest of Micah's remaining triari. I don't know how to say that. Triari?
Triari. It has like
Triari?
two eyes, right?
Yeah. I don't know the pronunciation, but yeah, it
Triari.
has Triari.
Sounds right.
Um yeah, under Celestina, who's the one who replaced Micah, and he seems to get some meaning out of that. But he likes the fact that he's kind of like an independent contractor. Like he's not signed up for anything. He's not anybody's anything. He gets to come in and help as he sees fit, and he's really happy to work on his relationship with Bryce and lay low as the Asiri have requested. He's developing a sense of humor and a kind of ease that emerged with Bryce in the first book. So there's a couple examples you can see of this. On page 38, it says, how many nights had they stayed up talking about everything and nothing, ordering in dinner, watching movies or reality shows or Sunball, playing video games or sitting on the roof of the apartment building, observing Malachim and witches and Draki dart across the sky like shooting stars. Like, he just gets to be normal for a second.
Yeah.
And I really love that for him.
And I do think they like mention that, where it's like just doing those normal things, and ultimately some of those things change as some of the things go out in the book. But I love, sometimes I was just like, okay, how many times are we going to talk about Sunball? But it's part of that normal life stuff,
He's a sport
watching
guy.
TV.
He's a sport guy. I'm not really a sports individual, but he's into it. And I really want to see him doing that. Like, do some normal shit. Put your hat on backwards, your whatever.
Oh
your
yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, do your little cute relationship things. Let yourself have this.
Yeah.
And I think he really, really enjoys the relationship building. He really enjoys the normalcy of it and is happy to like lay low for a while. He's had a very traumatic life, a very traumatic situation. Yeah, it's been a long time of a lot of trauma, and it's like he gets a few months of like normalcy. On page 65, this is an example of a time where they were like bantering back and forth, and everybody was like, y'all are weirdos, and they were like, we're so funny. And it says, Bryce grinned at Hunt. He returned it with one of his own. He got her humor, her fears, her hedging, whatever it was, Athalar got her. And I love this for them. Like, have your little jokes, do your little laughs. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think finding someone who gets you is a really big thing too. I love that.
Yes. Yeah. So that's some of the like what's going on that I think is positive, or that we can draw from to like help ourselves feel good and to develop a sense of self. And among this, even with these kind of developments, he has a lot of lingering fear. He's having flashbacks and nightmares about his past, and
Mm-hmm.
fears that the happiness he's constructing might be taken away. And he has very, yep, ooh, sounds
Similar
familiar.
little vibes there.
Yep, and he has a very physical and visceral reaction when his fear is activated. So on page 53, it says he hadn't told her of his own nightmares, of being forced to watch over and over as Micah brutalized her, and the nightmares of how she'd raced through the streets, demons from hell's darkest pit swarming her. On 142, it says he couldn't stop the shaking, couldn't stop the surge of acid through his veins that made every breath torturous. 161, he'd barely slept last night, hadn't been able to calm the thoughts that circled over and over. He'd wanted to talk to Bryce, but that acid in his veins had surged every time he'd gotten close and dissolved all his words. So even though they're having a good time and they're having fun, he feels very viscerally the fear that comes from having been traumatized by the Asteri and the prospect of their happiness being destroyed. It's very, he thinks about it a lot, but he also feels it in his body, and it often manifests as shaking and what he
Mm-hmm.
describes as acid in his veins.
Yeah, so I think that's a really intense thing that he goes through, and I don't think he tells Bryce, right? So he kind of just goes through that himself.
What's interesting is Bryce tracks it. She sees it, and you'll notice that whenever, because it's the shaking that gives him away.
Right.
He has this, what she describes. So from her perspective, he gets this far away look, which is a trauma reaction,
Mm-hmm.
and starts shaking. And oftentimes when that starts happening, she will like pull herself closer to him bodily, will grab his
Mm.
hand. She will like physically reassure him in some way because she can see what it's doing to him.
Yeah, to like
And
bring him back.
yes, and and the thing is, when he's really deep in a trauma reaction or when he's really feeling it, he has trouble speaking. So he can say later what he fears. Like he'll say like, Bryce, we need to slow down. I like, this is scaring me. But in
Yeah.
the moment when he's feeling it, his throat closes up and he's just like
Yeah.
locked a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is it's interesting to see when he tries to hide it from her and he doesn't say anything, and then when he tries to communicate with her, sometimes it's kind of start and stop because it's like closing up his throat.
Yeah. Poor guy. It's like panicky.
Mhm.
And yeah, it sucks that he has those kind of like flashbacks.
Yeah, and it's classic trauma, symptomology.
Mm-hmm.
It's recognizing that, and there's a book that I think is very popular in therapeutic circles calls The Body Keeps the Score.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about the ways that body stores trauma. Like your
Yeah.
body will react even if your mind, your mind and your body are kind of separate but integrated, and your body can react before your mind even has a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in addition to sort of the bodily side of this, he's really afraid of any actions that Hunt and Bryce might take that would lead to trouble with the Asteri. And he's working on communicating with Bryce, who feels strongly that they must act against the Asteri. First, it's kind of about Danica and Emil, but it turns into like, no, we need to save this world. And he does eventually come to that place where he's like, oh no, this is way bigger than any of us, and if we don't fucking do something, we're all dead. And he gets there, but he throughout the book really wants them to consider carefully the moves they make and try to
Mm-hmm.
stay out of things. So on page 49 he says he was still adjusting too. He couldn't get used to the walking around without a pit in his stomach as he wondered what horrors the day would bring. Being in charge of himself, his future, the Asteri could take it all away again if they wished. On
Mm.
page 128, I've got more than 200 years of history telling me to be wary. I can't deprogram myself. Page 138, this is Hunt speaking. This is a lethal game, Therian. One I'd rather not play again. And then in his mind, he says, Bryce could have sworn, or no, this is Bryce saying, Bryce could have sworn his hands shook slightly. This had been dragging up the worst of his memories and fears. He'd been a rebel once, and it had won him 200 years of servitude. On 153, he says, I know you want to help, and I commend you for it, Bryce, but I think we really need to weigh everything before we jump in. 197, Hunt's head spun. He'd been free for a few glorious months, only to wind up right back on the cusp of another rebellion. Hunt's hands slicked with sweat. He'd seen how this war turned out, felt the cost for centuries.
Oh my God. And it's like, even reading that over, I'm just like, Bryce is so in like the impulsive nature where it's like, I almost wish like Hunt could be like, no, like let's not do this and like not go on her every whim, because I mean he's been through a lot and it's almost like Bryce doesn't think about that. Like she does, but it's like, I don't know, like poor guy.
Yes, I love that you're highlighting this, because I at several points had the thought that I think Hunt is in a very vulnerable place psychologically, and it's creating codependence with Bryce. I would like to see him be able to say, no, Bryce, like this is something I don't want to do, or like I need to set a boundary somewhere. This idea, and I think this is where the like tee-hee of it all meets the like real world. It can be fun and cool and like twittery to read when like a male or a man, or really anybody, a woman, is like, I will do anything, I will give anything for you. Like there's a toxic sort of like, ooh, that's so fun, and we joke about it and like whatever. And in the real world, that sentiment will hurt you. Like that sentiment points to enmeshment. Like you have to be able to say, yeah, it's going to be important to articulate where your limits are, even for the people that you love the most. Like, at what point do you go, no, I can't give you that. No, I won't do that. No, that's against my values. You're asking me to do something that is not right, and I won't do it.
Yeah, and I think the reason why I laugh is because it reminds me of a quote that's between the Joker and Harley Quinn. Have you seen Suicide Squad?
I saw the first one. I didn't see.
Yeah, the first one.
There were other ones. Yeah.
So in the first one, and it's a quote that I tell my husband all the time, where it's like the Joker asks Harley Quinn, "Would you die for me? No, wait. Would you live for me?" And it's just like that, like sense of this person is going to live for me, and like that toxicness. But I'm just like, if it's not that, I don't want it. So it's like, I think we love that, but it's just like, I like how obviously like the Harley Quinn kind of falls for the Joker and like his intensity and just like becomes everything for him and literally lives for him and all of that. So I do love that. But
well, and I think this is the part, like there's a reason that it's fantasy, right? There's fantasy elements which are magical, but there's also some parts of the romantasy space where it's like, I would love to see this happen in real life in a way that's healthy and helpful. Like I would love to be able to articulate, like, I love you so much, I would do anything for you. But like, you can't really articulate that in the real world. So you get to say it in a fantasy space where it's so like, oh my God, like we get to like fangirl about it because it's in a fantasy book.
Yes.
And for Hunt, time and time again, I was just like, you need to differentiate from her a little bit. Like, and on Bryce's part, I think it takes on a little bit of an exploitative edge for her at a couple of moments. It's not totally like she rides this line. Even there's a line in there where she goes, like, you don't get to tell me, and this is after they've declared that they're mates and like soulmates. She's like, you don't get to tell me what to do just because we're fucking. And he's like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
And he was like, I think it's a little bit more than fucking at this point. Like, our sense have changed.
Yeah, I think she's too like quick with what she says. Sometimes she doesn't think about it because she's so like hyped up. I think that's her downfall in certain aspects.
Yes, and I think she has lived for what, 25 years? he's lived for 2 centuries. She thinks that she understands what he's gone through on some level. Like, she's like,
Mm.
yeah, you've gone through some stuff, but, and it's like, no, 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 stop. You don't,
Yeah.
yes, you've had trauma happen to you. Like, absolutely, traumatic shit has happened. Your life has been hard in a lot of ways. And you don't know what it feels like to be tortured for centuries.
Mm.
You just don't. And so I think she gets to be like, I'm independent and I do what I want.
Yeah.
And Hunt kind of is following her around, being like, I'll do whatever you want. It's like, Hunt, at
Get
some
some
point,
balls.
I mean, or like, take some time and process your
Yeah.
trauma and
Yeah.
work on yourself. That way you can show up and not be so vulnerable to that kind of thinking. Like,
Yeah, because
show
he
up in a way where you
and
can be
like
like, no, I'm not doing that.
yeah, and he still holds a lot of the memories of what happened to like I forget her name, but like the past person that he loved,
Shahar.
Shahar. So it's like that's all he knew before, and it was also like I would go to war with you, I would go to the end for you
Mhm.
type of thing, and I believe it was said that she didn't like
She
reciprocate
didn't
that.
reciprocate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't reciprocate like that type of energy for him. So like poor guy, it seems like he pours himself into people.
Mhm.
And it's almost like because he needs to find his own self-worth or like his
Mhm.
own drive, you
Mhm.
know?
And unfortunately, and I don't think Bryce means it to do this, but I think she kind of ends up doing it anyway. I think she uses his vulnerability in that way.
Yeah.
She knows that he'll do anything for her. And so she'll text him and be like, I need you here now. And it's like,
Ugh,
girl,
my
like,
client hurting yours.
girl, come over here and get your client. You need to come get her.
It's crazy when we like talk about these things and you're just like, wow, these
Mm.
two are really, it's like they're good for each other, but they're not at the same time.
I think so. Here's the thing for me that keeps it from tipping into like a totally toxic thing that I'm not for. One is, and this is a part of his analysis as well, despite the fact that he's really afraid and like, it is like, wait, let's hold up. He does still hold his convictions about the Asteri. And even toward the end of the book, like he recognizes more and more he can't sit in ignorance. Like we can't just hide while
True.
all this shit is happening. And he comes to that on his own. So they have a shared vision, and it's not like he's totally pulled in another direction. I think he's just like, can we slow down? Can we take a second before I jump back into another thing where I'm going to end up enslaved? And like, I think, I think there's a way that they can have a shared vision in a way that is more comfortable for them both. Additionally, I do think there are things that unite them. They
Mm-hmm.
say several times, we get each other, like we get, like
Yeah.
our humor and the way that we deal with our traumas and like is similar in some ways.
Yeah.
So what I would like to see is a little bit more differentiation for Hunt. Like, be your own person, have your own values.
Yeah.
Let's question some of this I'll do anything for you stuff.
For sure.
And for Bryce, I need to see from you a little bit more compassion. I need to see from you a little less, I'm going to be honest, alpha hole behavior. Like
Yeah.
you need to recognize that you can be a leader, you could be assertive, you could be making plans. Like I want that, all of that for her. And think about the cost to Hunt as you're fucking popping off. Like think about the fact that
Mm.
it's him who has the like crossed out slave tattoo, and they can uncross that at any moment. And
Yeah.
you, dear Bryce Quinlan, are sweet starborn princess of the Autumn King, and you have many protections that your partner does not.
Mm.
Think about that.
This case console has been very helpful.
Oh, girl,
I'll
we need to go to our
incorporate that.
clients.
I'll incorporate that into my
Excellent.
next session.
Excellent.
I wonder, is there actual like feedback things like that where it's like, but you're not supposed, like you're not aware of like which client is who, you know what I mean? But that would be interesting.
What do you mean?
Like if our situation was like in the real world where it's like we talk about, but I don't think that's a thing, right?
Well, I've been in situations where you can make that a thing. You're very careful about what you share, but
Right.
like there's a certain amount of collaboration that can happen. I've been in circumstances where they're all in the same, you know,
Is it
so
like
like
group
couples.
home or like
No, it was outpatient. It was
okay.
working with folks who either had a substance use disorder or were incarcerated.
Okay.
So there is a little bit of like, kind of a tighter community there. But there was a couple that had a couples counselor and then two individual counselors.
Oh yeah,
And
that's where it can be helpful.
so we would get together and like I was the individual counselor for one person, and we would get together and not share people's secrets or things like that,
Mhm.
but just saying in general. And you would tell the clients too, you'd be like, is it okay, are you comfortable if we meet all together and talk about
Oh,
the
that's
case
right.
for your. So
Yeah.
like I think as long as you structure it out, you include the clients, you give them the information, you know that you will be meeting, you can do some of that. And it's more just like, hey,
True.
this is kind of what we're working on, this is what I'm seeing, what might be helpful. And it was actually a really good experience, the time that I did it.
Yeah, I forgot cuz like when you work in like the same practice and then I did that more with
Mhm.
like when I was seeing kids. Like I saw one sibling and then this other clinician saw the other sibling and then we
Mhm.
connected to figure out more of the household thing. So yes, yeah, but
Mm.
I think
So
that's
we'd be collaborating with
we'd be
these two.
collabing. Okay.
And I've mentioned this, I've mentioned little nuggets sort of across the analysis, but my treatment applications for Hunt would really be around building a sense of self after long term enslavement, trying to cope with trauma, and really trying to help him keep him and his partner safe. There is some real actual physical dangers to him, and I would want them to maintain their safety even as they like have their values and want to do challenge the system and all of that. Um, I would like to establish some routines for Hunt based on his freedom from the Asteri. And it was interesting because it actually reminds me of some of the work that I've done with folks who are incarcerated. If you have someone who's experienced incarceration for a long time, when you're incarcerated, your every day is so regimented. Like, wake up this time, eat this time, do these activities at this time, go to bed at this time. And
Yeah.
so, some of the work I had to do with my clients was around like, how do I like make decisions about my day? Like, how do I decide what I want to do on a given day? I haven't had to decide anything for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so I think that's some of the work I'd be doing with Hunt, of like checking in with himself and his body and being like, do you want to do what you're about to do today? Is there something else you'd like to do? What would you like to incorporate? And give him autonomy. Like, I would be very careful to not tell him what to do, but to just give him a place where he can explore what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Um, I also would really want to help him with his physical trauma reactions, the shaking, the inability to speak, the acid in his veins, like
Mhm.
being able to do some grounding around this, or like do a body scan where he could take a moment and be like, okay, I'm having that shakiness. Do I need to like take a couple of deep breaths? Would getting a glass of water help? Like, being able to process and lower those trauma reactions and then work on communicating
Mm.
kind of while you're experiencing that would be helpful. And I'd want to use strengths-based perspectives to help him recognize the ways that he has his own strengths, his own capabilities, that that are for good. Like, you're
Yeah.
not just the Umbra Mortis, the guy who killed people. Like,
Yeah.
you are a person who is worthy of goodness, and you have goodness in you, and you have strengths, and you bring a lot of those strengths to the world. So let's hone in on
Yeah. I feel like you're the perfect clinician for Hunt, to be honest.
that. Me and Hunt would be would be a
Yeah.
good pair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Um so it's interesting, because the real world application I have is a little bit separate from Hunt's treatment specifically, but it was something that I see a lot of people face, and that I was like, I just really want to highlight this. So one of the dynamics that Hunt has been dealing with is navigating memories of his past relationship with Shahar while comparing it to his present relationship with
Mm.
Bryce. So, and there's a few quotes I pulled. it says on page 312, it's the first time Bryce and Hunt say I love you to each other. It's very sweet.
Very cute.
And yeah, he goes, I love you too, Quinlan. And then in his mind, he says, no one had said those words to Hunt in 2 centuries. No one has ever said I love you to this man. Ever. My
so
God.
sad. Yeah.
So fucking sad. And then he says, Shahar had never said them, not once, though he stupidly offered the words to her. But hearing them from Quinlan, ... It's like, he feels so validated. It's beautiful. But even in this moment where he's saying, I love you for the first time, he's remembering saying I love you to Shahar and not getting that sentiment returned.
Right. Which I don't think he should be doing in the first place. Like, you shouldn't be thinking about your past lover when you're with your current one.
I almost don't know if he could help it, because it's part of this moment that's so impactful for him is like, I'm saying I love you and you're saying it back. Actually, Bryce says it first.
She does.
She says I love you. And I think he can't help but think about the fact that no one has ever said it to him. That he's the one time.
That breaks my heart.
It is. I'm telling you, this man is much more vulnerable than I thought when I took on. Yeah. Same. I didn't track his vulnerability in the same way I did this read round, because I had him for our character analysis. On page 540, it says, was this any different from his time with Shahar, falling for a beautiful, powerful female, only to have her hide her innermost thoughts? Page 549, Shahar would never have done something like this, risk so much for someone who could do her absolutely no good. Page 657, Bryce says, you liked staking your territory. This is after they show up to that solstice celebration together and they get to like dance in front of each other.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah. And then it's spoken, he let her see the predator in him. I've never had that with anyone. Bryce frowned. Shahar never showed you off? And he goes, no, I was her general. At public functions, we didn't appear together. She never wanted that. And so... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, where it's like, also being in love with someone and having to hide your relationship is horrible.
Oh, yeah. It like, honestly, based on everything that Hunt gives away about Shahar, fuck Shahar.
Yeah, she didn't love him. She didn't care about him.
And she didn't, like, all of the things. And this is where I think there's a lot, like, this is why Bryce and Hunt, I think, have the potential to be like a really, really strong power couple, is because there are parts of Bryce that have a lot of compassion, of fierce protectiveness, a loyalty to the people that she loves. And it's very clear from the way Hunt talks about Shahar. Shahar was a person with strong values who really believed in a cause that's good, but she didn't care about Hunt. She didn't care about the people around her. She never would have gone into that battle if she actually cared about the people who served her or the people in the army that she was leading. So outside of all the fantastical pieces, this really made me think about the ways that folks are navigating present relationships while they've been contending with past memories, experiences, and relational patterns developed in a previous relationship. And it's really hard, right? Like, it's really difficult to walk into a new relationship and not use any of the information that you've gathered. And it's impossible, right? Like, you are a collection of the experiences that you've had, and part of your experiences have to do with your past relationships. So I wanted to provide some tips and tricks or things that I think are really helpful if you find yourself in the situation where you have a new relationship and you're trying not to like project your old relationship onto it, but there's like, you learn some things along the way and you want to use it to make a better relationship. So first and foremost, I would say have compassion for yourself and recognize that there's probably valuable information you can pull from past dating or relationship experiences. You probably or might have learned what your preferences are. Where are your boundaries? What kind of behaviors and attitudes don't work for you with a partner? And it's probably helped you to clarify what you want in the future. So there's a part of this where it's like, don't leave all that behind. Like, don't try to ignore it.
Right.
Be curious, have compassion, because you can learn something about how you want to approach your current relationship. Um, and if you do find yourself projecting, like you're having a conversation with your partner that is along the lines of like, "Hey, I am not your old partner. Like you're projecting fears onto me about stuff that is not things that I do or things that we need to be worried about." Um, I would say approach any projecting that you feel you're doing with curiosity. What about a specific present scenario is activating old memories or patterns? Because if we're not curious, it's really hard to learn from it. If you just berate yourself for doing that, how can you possibly learn? How can you take a moment and say like, okay, what is being activated here for me? How do I help myself articulate it either to myself, my therapist, my people, like
Right.
help me process it so that I can try to do something different. And I would say this last point, own if you're projecting onto your current partner and communicate together about how you want to approach it. I almost see this as like in a partnership, we are partners working together against the forces that would seek to like get in the way of our relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
if this is a part of that, that projection is coming up, work with your partner together to address it. And it may require you to do your own emotional work, go to therapy, talk to somebody, do grounding, like whatever's going to help you work through it, do your own work and do the work of the relationship so that you can come back stronger and more like cohesive.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned the relationship piece because we're
Mm-hmm.
all but our experiences in relationships and trying to find our person and all of that, and sometimes it's hard when you have bad experiences not to project it or be wary for the next
Mm-hmm.
one. But I think they're all learning experiences, and it's like you said, it's like figuring out like what didn't work for you before, what are your values, like making sure you're sticking with your values even when it comes to finding a partner who has similar values and stuff. So I think that's a really important takeaway because we all have relationships and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So that is the counselor's couch today. Uh,
Awesome.
Thank you for coming in. It's been a delight. It's been an
I love
absolute
it. It was a
delight.
great time.
And that leads us to the red flag court.
Woo!
Yes, girl. Welcome to the red flag court, where we bring cases of personal and relationship misconduct to the jury, and we ask ourselves, is it a red flag? Is it a green flag? Is it somewhere in between? So, Yarlin, what case do you have to present to the court today?
I present to the court today 2 cases. My first one being, is Hunt giving alcohol? My new favorite word.
Shoot.
Um, in page 326, they're getting ready to go to the bone quarter. Can't remember for what. I'm sure it's for some type of mission or something. And Bryce comes out wearing, a little skimpy dress or skirt or something.
Yeah, she's got like a mini skirt on.
Yeah, she's got a mini skirt on. Backstory, she loves to party. I'm sure this is, kind of like normal outfits that she wears, right? Hunt says, "You're really wearing this to the bone quarter?" And she says, "It's 1,000 degrees today and humid. I'm not wearing pants." He says, "What if we get in trouble?" She says, "Then I suppose the Underking will get a nice view of my ass." He gave her a flat look. Bryce rolled her eyes and said, "Give me 5 minutes to change." She ended up wearing a t-shirt and leggings, then regretted it later because it actually was really hot. Is Hunt being a red flag in this moment, especially connecting like relationship dynamics and maybe some controlling situations?
Okay. So here's my take. I don't think Hunt's being a red flag here, and I think we might differ in opinion on this. I think this is green flag behavior because they're literally about to go face off against like a supernatural creature that does want to do them harm in his own territory. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to lose a battle because you're wearing a mini skirt. And they do end up battling big hounds. There's dirt everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Hunt Athalar. I'm over 200 years old, and I'm the only one here with actual war battle experience. So for me, this is more about tactical sense. Like,
Yeah.
okay, Yarlin, let me ask you this. I call you up and I'm like, okay, I want to go into kind of a risky, dangerous situation. And, we might fight some people and we're probably going to be outnumbered. But I don't know. We don't quite know for sure. But it's definitely hostile territory. We're probably going to end up fighting somebody. What outfit are you rolling up in to go to battle? Is it a mini skirt? Is it?
It's probably biker shorts.
I like I probably would show up in a leggings and a t-shirt or pants and a shirt. Like,
Yeah.
if you're asking me to get involved in a fight or even a hostile situation
Yeah.
with other people, I'm not busting up my legs in a mini skirt. I'm sorry. It's
True,
not even
true.
about showing ass. Like, she's flaunted her ass in front of every fucking body, in this book, and Hunt never says shit about it. Like, she shared a bed with Ethan Holstrom.
True.
Like, and he didn't say fucking anything about it. It's like, to me, this is a battle decision. And so for
Mm.
that reason, like, if I'm Hunt, in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to have to clean dirt out of the cuts on your legs later because you decided to wear a mini skirt. Like, let's put
Hmm.
on some pants because we're going into battle. So anyway, I think this is green flag. That's my personal opinion. This to me doesn't read as like, why are you wearing that skirt? I don't want people seeing my woman.
Mm.
This is, why are you wearing that skirt? We're literally about to go fight people, supernatural people.
Well, you may have convinced me
Oh,
because
shoot.
I do see it in your light of like
Mm-hmm.
how it's like, okay, it's not controlling what she's wearing. It's more like, let's be well equipped for this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will agree. I do think it's a green flag. If she wants to fight in a skirt, I think she could have done that, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I see what you mean.
Here's the thing. I just and these are the moments where it's like, I feel like Bryce is doing something just to be like, I'm an independent woman. And it's like, I
True.
get it. I want to be able to figure out my own shit. I'm, for the record, very independent woman. I don't like being told what to do. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
align with, like, don't give me commands, don't,
Yeah.
whatever. And if I'm if I'm in an area, or a knowledge area where somebody knows more than I do and they happen to be a man, like, this is a perfect example from my own life. I've learned this the hard way. One time I had to put, and this is going to make me look so stupid, but I don't even care. I had to put windshield wiper fluid in my car,
Uh-huh.
into the
Yeah.
place where it goes. And I pulled up to like the auto parts store or whatever. I got my windshield wiper fluid and I'm in the parking lot. I cannot figure out how to open the hood of my car. I
Oh
can't
my
even figure out
gosh.
the hood of my fucking car. By the way, just so you all know, I know how to do windshield wiper fluid. I could change my air filter, both interior and exterior. So we've learned
Okay.
a lot. Yeah, I learned a lot from this experience because I was like, I will never be caught like this again.
I will never
Um,
rely on a man.
I'll never do it again. So I'm standing out there in front of my car being like, where is the button? I'm like, how do I, and I'm trying to like hoist it up.
Abracadabra.
Yeah, I'm like, big bang boom. Get on with it. A man comes up and is like, hey, do you want any help? I'm like, no, I got it. I'll figure it
You're
out.
like, I
Thank you
got
so much.
this.
Yeah,
Step
I got
back.
this. I got this. He leaves. I'm standing out there another 5 minutes being like, okay. Another man comes up. Hey, do you want any help with that? I'm like, no, I can figure it out. I'm like,
But why did you keep saying no?
well, I don't,
Like, what is that
because
part
I
of
was
you?
so prideful. I was like, this can't be that hard.
Okay,
Anyway,
Leo.
I can't beat the charges.
But
Okay.
that's giving Taurus, so that's very interesting.
I don't know. I'm a Leo. I'm on the cusp of Leo and Cancer, if that helps anybody. I don't know.
That is so funny.
So 10 minutes goes by, 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know what to do anymore, but I'm determined. The guy from the auto parts store comes out. He's like, listen, I've been watching you out here struggle.
Oh
And he's
my
like, I get you don't want help, but like this could be solved so quickly. Like
that
he's
is
like,
so
it is
funny.
not worth it. And I was like, fine. I was like, okay, you have a really good point. And it literally was like, flip a little switch, open the thing, take the
Yeah.
cap off. He showed me in like 2 seconds the
Mm.
thing that I had so pridefully wanted to solve myself. And so what I learned that day is that if there's an area of life where you don't know very much, it probably just helps to get help. Like you don't have to do
Yes.
it by yourself. You could just if a man knows more than you do about a thing, just let
Yeah.
that help you, and whatever. So I say all that to say, here's the thing, Bryce, trust me, I get it, but like the man knows more than you about battling and tactical things. He's been alive
Yeah.
for 200 years. Just fucking
I think this is like something she can let go of. It's not worth
yeah.
it. So I get it.
I don't know when Bryce's birthday is. I can't remember, but
Mm.
she does sometimes give like Bryce and I align sometimes with our like stubborn
She might be a
behavior,
Leo
and
because she is
I was gonna
really
say
like
she gives Leo a little bit.
yeah, she's very like out there, loves like the attention. She loves to party. Yeah, she does give some of those vibes.
She gives some Leo vibe. And here's the real thing about Leos is like we actually want everybody to have a good time, and we're so loyal, and it's like
Yeah.
she has that like loyalty. So I'm not saying it is, but I understand Bryce, and also put some fucking pants on, like just this once.
Yeah. I think the
Anyway,
court is cohesive with a green flag.
yes. Would you like me to go into mine? Like we do a little
Yeah.
back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay. So I bring my first case to the court. At the top of the book, Bryce, as we discussed, asked Hunt to wait until winter solstice for them to get physical so that they could get to know each other as people. How very something. And Hunt agrees, and he said, he was like, I was going to seduce her within an inch of her life when we got back to our house after all the stuff that went down at the comitium. But she was like, no, let's not. And he was like, okay, we could do this. Later on, Hunt and Bryce have a conversation after a moment in the alleyway where they're doing their making out, and they have an interchange about not waiting. And I want to read it to you. And I'm just going to read the dialogue. There's like other things written in between it, but I'm just going for the dialogue. So on page 201, Hunt, you're sure you want to do this now? I know emotions are high after what we've learned. Whatever you want, Quinlan, that's what I mean to say. Bryce, what do you want? Why is it only what I want? Hunt, because you were the one who mentioned waiting until solstice. Bryce, and Hunt, and I want to make sure that you're fully on board with ending our agreement. Bryce, all right. But I also want to know what you want, Hunt. Hunt, you know what I want. I've never stopped wanting you. I thought that was obvious. And then her star starts glowing, and he says, your star. Bryce says, let's not even get started on this thing. Let's keep talking about how much you want me. Hunt says, why don't I just show you later? Bryce says, that's what I want, Hunt. That is definitely what I want. What do you think about this conversation around consent? Red flag or green flag?
I think it's a green flag because he wants to make sure that, they both want to kind of end that commitment that they both agreed to. I do think it's a weird way to go about it, at least in Bryce's. It's like why do you want him to like keep saying what he wants? Like I get it, but it's like it's almost like she's not actually like saying yes, I want you right now. It's like I don't know. It's an interesting way to go about it, where it's just like, why is she always being this way?
See, I read that. I agree. This is a green flag conversation to me, and I like that she's like, no, Hunt. What do you want? Because I think what she's latching onto in this moment is the thing that he's showing throughout the book of like, whatever Bryce wants, I will do whatever she wants. And I think in this moment, she's like, why is it only what I want? I want to hear what you want, Hunt. Like to me, this is a call out like, hey, Hunt, have your own opinion outside of what it is that I want. Like, I'll tell you. And she does tell him what she wants. Like, she gets
Mm-hmm.
there, but it's like, I like that for this moment, she's not putting herself first. She's going, "No, Hunt, what do you want?" Like he starts to say like he starts to say what he really wants to say. He goes, "I know emotions are high after what we learned. And then he stops himself and goes, "Whatever you want, Quinlan, that's what I meant to say." And I
Mm.
think for me, this is such an important moment, not only for Bryce to like declare what it is she wants, which is a consent
True.
conversation, but I think it's an important moment for Hunt that Bryce is like, hey, Hunt, this relationship is not just about what I want. I think it would have been really interesting to see, like, what if Hunt wanted to wait? Like, she was giving him the moment to like say what he really
But
wanted.
I think an argument to say that this is really more on her terms, like the waiting, because he said, because you were the one who mentioned waiting until solstice. So I think
Mm-hmm.
this is a boundary or like thing that she put in place. And he
Mm-hmm.
obviously, it seems like he didn't want to wait and is
Mm-hmm.
ready to go at any time. So I
Mm-hmm.
think this is more like he wanted to know if she was willing to kind of like end that agreement that she brought
Mm-hmm.
upon. So I think it's a green flag overall, but I
Mm.
see what you mean where it's like I like that she's bringing the attention of like what does he want? But I think in this conversation it's more like, well, she's the one that brought it up.
Mm. I like that you bring that in because I agree with you. Like he does have a point. He's like, you're the one that wanted to wait.
Right.
And I wonder if like in the and we don't have this conversation, like this conversation's not written out, but in the conversation where they first talked about waiting till solstice, because he clearly didn't want to wait.
Right.
But she brings it up, and from the way he talks about it, he goes like, I was going to seduce her within an inch of her life, and then she brought up no sex until winter solstice, and he backed off. And
Right.
so I don't know if he ever articulated like, hey, I actually would love to have sex whenever you want to have sex. Like, I don't know if he ever actually says that out loud.
Mhm.
I wonder when she brought that up if he was just like, whatever you want, Quinlan, whatever you want. And to have
Yeah.
him like, I think even if they had waited, I think it would have been important for Hunt to say like, "Hey, I am totally down for waiting because that's what's going to make you comfortable and I'm never going to like push myself on anybody. That's
Right.
not right. And I want you to know that whenever you're ready to have sex, I would like to have sex. Like I'm ready
Yeah.
to take that step whenever you are." But
Yeah.
he doesn't really articulate that. He's just like it's all internal. He thinks about it. He's like, I'm constantly horny for her and I want
Right.
her and I want to touch her, but he doesn't say out loud. Like they kind of flirt with each other. They kind of both know it's on each other's mind, but
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's being asked to say what he actually thinks here, not just as like
Mhm.
a, oh, Quinlan, whatever you want, I'll do it, but like to state it.
Yeah.
But I agree with you on the like she brought up the boundary, so like you know what I mean? Like
Right. Right.
she brought that in, so like you also have to articulate what your thoughts are on it, but I think I would have played this moment similarly to Bryce if I were her. Like before
Mm.
I say what I want to
Yeah.
hear what you want because I'm afraid that when I say what I want, you're just going to go along with whatever I'm going to say. Like I
True.
want to hear you articulate it before I tell you what I think.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like something that tracks with him. So I can see like
Mm-hmm.
why she mentioned it that way. But in my
Mm-hmm.
mind, I'm like, well, clearly she's the one that put this in place. So I don't know why you're asking what I want. Clearly, I want you.
Good. You know what I want. Um,
So
so
green
yeah,
flag though.
green
Green flag
flag.
though.
We love consent conversations.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great recognition that consent can change, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
she said winter solstice, and then she realized, I don't want to wait till winter solstice. Or
Yeah, we
it
might
could have
die.
gone the other. We might die any day now. It also is important to highlight that, even if she had said winter solstice and then wanted to wait longer, that's
Right.
fine. Like, consent
Mm.
conversations, consent changes. I know you and I joke about it where it's like, come on, get on with it already. But like,
Right.
the real life of it all is that like consent is a continual conversation, and I like that they're checking in with each other before they like
Yeah.
jump on in.
I do like
So,
that. And I think it's important to read about that.
mm-hmm.
So then you can replicate that in your real life.
Yes.
Okay. My second case that I present to the court today, it's
Yes.
between Bryce and Juniper, her
Ooh.
bestie friend, you know. So Bryce
Mm-hmm.
seems to have called Gorgon to help
Mm-hmm.
Juniper receive recognition for her like dancing ballet or something like she does. Juniper is extremely upset at this. I didn't write down the page number, but it's kind of in the middle of the book, I think. Juniper calls her or answers Bryce's call. How dare you call Gorgon? What happened? I'm principal. That's what happened. And that's a bad thing. It's a bad thing because everyone knows that Princess Bryce Dannon put in a call and threatened to pull the Autumn King's donations if CCB didn't recognize my talent. So what? Is this the only isn't this the only bit of good that being a princess entails? No, it's the opposite. I've worked my entire life for this, Bryce, my entire life. And you step in and take the accomplishment away from me, make yourself, not me, not my talent, into the reason I got this promotion, the reason I made history. You, not me sticking it out, fighting through it, but my fake princess friend who couldn't leave well enough alone. I think this
Ooh.
is interesting because it always, every time like Juniper is mentioned, there always seems this like they have a close relationship, but they never really like see each other. So they have an interesting dynamic. But is Bryce's behavior a red flag in this situation?
Okay. I'm trying recently to like with these red flag court things to either do one or the other, red or green. Like I really want to push myself to like make a statement.
To not be
But it's hard.
orange.
Yeah, to not be orange or yellow but I like nuance. Here's the thing. I think this is a red flag.
Yeah.
I think that Bryce has it comes from a good place. But you can intend one thing and the impact is very different. I think that Juniper had a choice taken from her, basically. Like, I think it might have been different if Bryce had called Juniper. And this is the thing about Bryce. She schemes and she acts before she asks anybody. And like, this is why you get into trouble, because you didn't ask, you just forced yourself into the situation. So I think she could have called up Juniper and said, hey, Juniper, I'm now big starborn princess fae lady. I've got a lot of power and I can pull strings to get you the principal position if you want. Is that something you want me to do? Because like, fuck them. Let's like fuck up this system and let Juniper decide, do I want that or not? And go from there. Ultimately what you've done, as Juniper said, is you've taken something from her. I also think there's a deeper commentary here. Juniper as a dancer, as a faun and a dancer, is an anomaly in the ballet world of Lunathian. And I think you see this reflected in real ballet in real life, like Black women who have been in ballet and how few Black women have had access to becoming like lead ballerinas. I know that history was made a few years ago by like the first lead Black ballerina for a big company in New York, and it was a really, really big deal. And I think this mimics that, in that Juniper is trying to overcome like bias and prejudice about her being a faun, what is perceived as her body type or her, whatever, to become the principal. So for her, the accomplishment is like, I'm accomplishing this for other fawns or other shifters or other people who want to do ballet but are told for so many reasons. Even Bryce is told she stops doing ballet One, because of trauma, but because she's told that she doesn't have the body type for it, that she's too curvy, that she's too whatever. And so I think Juniper really wanted to be able to say, like, for myself and for other people who are like me, look at what I did, despite the fact that this whole system is unfair. And now, just as Juniper says, that's been stolen. That opportunity has been stolen. And now the message is going to be, oh, well, Bryce put in a call and that's why Juniper's the lead. Not because she's the best, but because her powerful friend called somebody.
I would be so pissed too. And that's why I feel like it was something I needed to have as my case, because I was like, I would be so pissed. And I feel like that can ruin a friendship for doing something like that. Especially like mentioning, like, you know, this is something that like it shouldn't have been taken away from her, especially how much it meant to show people from her community of just like, you can do it and you don't need someone else to help you. Like, you yourself are worth it to do it. So yeah, I would be pretty pissed too. And
I'd be really mad as well. I think the one for my thoughts about Juniper's actions after that point, if you intend on continuing to be friends with Bryce, I think it's important to recognize how high stakes everything it is. I think it's a shame that Bryce and Juniper didn't get to connect before Bryce went through that portal. That Bryce left that voicemail on her phone saying, like, hey, Juniper, I love you. You know what I mean? Like, Juniper's not taking her calls. She tries to call her several times, and not even like for any reason other than to just connect. And now, you know, Juniper's in a different realm. You're not going to, or Bryce is in a different realm. You're not going to be able to, you know, at this moment where we leave off,
we'll see.
You're not going to be able to make amends. So I think there's a consideration on Juniper's. Now, if she decides she doesn't want to be friends with Bryce, then, you know, you've said your piece. You've said why you're mad. You can set a boundary, say, I don't want to be friends anymore, like, and leave it at that. But if you would like to reestablish a relationship, I think communicating that a little bit, saying, hey, I want you to know, like, I am absolutely livid. I need time to process. When I'm ready, I will reach out to you. I promise. Like, doing a little bit of that work. But this Bryce's behavior is red flag. For sure.
Yeah, I think I would be pretty upset. I don't know if I would end a friendship over it, truly, when you think about it, because it's like, you know, something like that, it can be repaired. But yeah, it depends on like how much it really means to you and how much that person means to you, and if you're able to see through, you know, their good intentions. But yeah, so both courts, red flag
on this, which we have 2 greens, 1 red right now. So we're like skewing green flag here.
Okay.
And now it's time to just try that. I don't know. We'll see how you feel about this. Okay. So my second case for the court, Bryce, in a classic Brycean way, decides to hide her plans and information about Emil Renast's whereabouts from everyone, including Hunt. And she brings in other people into her schemes, but she never tells people what's really going on. And Hunt figures out that Bryce found out where Emil is, and that she left him with the Viper Queen. And Bryce and Hunt have a couple of interchanges about it. And he's really hurt by the fact that, once again, she has left him in the dark about something. There was another example. So the first example from the book was Cormac came to intimidate her at her office in the Fae Archives. She didn't tell Hunt about that. And then she didn't tell him about this. So it's starting to pile up. He's like, yet again, you're leaving me in the dark. And so there's 2, as they discuss it, a couple of things emerge. So on page 537, Hunt says, how about you tell me what the fuck you know about Emil? Bryce says, nothing. Hunt says, oh, Spestos practically blabbed it, didn't she? With her talk about snakes. Are you fucking insane sending that kid to the Viper Queen? So there's a little bit of a conversation there. Then page 540, Bryce says, how did you figure it out? And Hunt says, I told you, you're not as slick as you think. From that moment, Bryce contends that Hunt is having a quote-unquote alpha hole fit, and she upholds her decision to be secretive because she doesn't feel like anyone was truly looking out for Emil. just manipulating him, including Hunt. Hunt is really angry that she keeps hiding things from him, and he wonders if he's falling into similar relationship patterns with Bryce as he did with Shahar. And he eventually shifts his thinking a little bit. He doesn't say, like, okay, I was being an asshole about being kept in the dark. Because he hadn't thought totally about protecting Emil maybe as much as he could have. And while they're still mad, they have this interchange. On page 550, Hunt says, "You're sending him to your parents?" Bryce said, "Did I miss the memo where I needed your approval to do so?" Hunt says, "For Erd's sakes, that's not why I'm mad." Bryce says, "I don't care if you're mad. Just because we're fucking doesn't mean I answer to you." Hunt says, "Pretty sure it's a bit more than fucking." They have a couple other snippy exchanges, but they come full circle on page 579. Bryce says, "Are you still mad at me?" Hunt says, "Bryce, I needed to process everything." Bryce says, "And?" Hunt says, "And I'm sorry for how I acted earlier." Bryce says, "I wanted to tell you I really did." And Hunt responds, "I understand why you didn't. I was ... I was upset that you didn't trust me. I thought we were a team. It rattled me." Bryce said, "We are a team, but I wasn't sure if you would agree with me, that an ordinary human boy was worth the risk." Hunt says, "Of course I would have thought a human was worth the risk. I was too wrapped up in other shit to see the whole picture." And Bryce said, "I'm sorry I didn't give you enough credit. Hunt, I'm really sorry." So, what flags would you give Bryce and Hunt throughout these interchanges? And what about this conversation as a whole? Like, what are your thoughts?
I do think that, like we've talked about, I think Bryce is very like intense, and she is always like, "Did I miss the memo where I needed your approval?" It's just like, why do you have to speak to him that way? Like, it's just not nice. You're being the alpha hole. So I think overall they were able to kind of like express how they feel, and I like that Hunt was able to say like why he was upset and like how it affected him, and that he needed time to process it. I feel like she just kind of like is always like pushing for him to like, and like it's like she just wants his response, not necessarily like, I feel like her apologizing last was like very Bryce. I don't think she would have apologized first. I do think it's a green flag overall, their ability to express the situation, how it made them feel. They were able to resolve it and like apologize to each other. So that I would give my flag for that. So
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree with you on the green flag overall. Like the way this all pans out, they both apologize, they both express themselves. Like that ultimately is what's important. I do think that while an apology was warranted maybe for both of them, I think Bryce was a bigger red flag here for me than Hunt was.
yeah.
Hunt did get snippy for sure, and he was again using what he knew about Shahar, so he's projecting a little bit. And Bryce, much of sort of like her problem with him about it was her projecting onto him about like, "Oh, so you're going to tell me what to do?" It's like, it's not about telling you what to do. It's the fact that you didn't trust me and you didn't tell me. And I think that I really don't like how harsh she is when she's like, "Oh, so we're fucking now." And he's like, it's like, don't cheapen it like that. Like,
Yeah, I think
don't,
that is horrible, and I would be offended. I would be
yeah.
like, well,
I'd be like, "Oh, so we're just fucking." That's how you feel about the bond that we share. I would have Hunt had way more patience than I would have. I would have been like, "You earnestly see what we're doing, our bond, as just fucking."
yeah,
So I want you to run that back. I want you to say that to me right now, that you earnestly believe that.
yeah, and I feel like it's like, imagine if it was the other way around and like Hunt was saying that to her.
Yeah. "Oh, so we're fucking now?" Like,
Oh yeah, that can end
ooh.
a relationship for sure, because it's just like,
Oh,
so it
don't.
doesn't mean anything to you.
Yeah. So we make a mate bond where we declare our never ending bond. And as soon as we're having a fight, you want to say we're just fucking?
She just pushes people away. So I think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she
So I think if she had not apologized, this would have been very different for me. But I think her apology is really genuine. I think their apologies both ways are genuine. And my hope, fingies crossed, for Crescent City 3 is that she learns that that to keep things, really important things, from the people who are important to you in your life causes strife emotionally.
Mm,
And that maybe you need to bring people into your plans. So
yeah, I agree.
So green flag for the interaction, some concerns for the people individually, and here we are. I do have one more case. It's not even really a case. I just want to
Mm.
complain about it. So I just want to say that at the very end, we find out that the hind Lydia is day.
Mm-hmm.
Rune is night, he's a spy. She is day, she's a spy. And at the very end, they're about to get captured by the Asteri, and the hind comes in to try to save them. And she does help them out a lot. She
Yeah.
unlocks Bryce's manacle, or her handcuffs. She sets it up so that Bryce can end up going through the portal. But throughout this interaction, she's banging at the doors of Rune's mind, going, Rune. She's trying to talk to him mind to mind, and he ignores her. He's like, I'm butthurt, you're the hind.
Yeah.
And I just think that is the dumbest thing that you could do at a moment like this. You're about to either die or get captured and tortured, probably within an inch of your life. Something bad, very bad, is about to happen to you. Would you not want to use every tool at your disposal? I get it's mind-blowing, but what
Yeah.
the fuck, Rune?
I think he was very vulnerable with her, and I think that just the hiding of who you are, and I think she's known to be a bad person type of thing. So
I mean,
it's you hid
I
that from
guess.
me, and they were
Well, but they were
intimate and
playing
everything.
spy. I
But
told you I didn't want to tell you.
I know,
Oh
but I think that's
god.
just, him processing it in the moment. Of course, I don't think he should have not heard her out, but
Dude, listen, here's the thing. If you and I ever get captured by an intergalactic race of parasites, and something's happening interpersonally, where either we're mad at somebody, somebody's mad at us, somebody's mad, I am going to use every tool at my disposal to get out alive, and
true.
then we can fight later.
Yeah.
We all can have an argument later when we're not captured by the Asteri. I just thought that was I literally, even the third time reading it, I was like, Rune, get your shit together.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
think it wasn't the best thing to do, but it didn't rile me up like it did to you. I was just
okay,
well,
maybe it's not as red flaggy and stupid as I thought.
I think because it was at the end and it
row.
was in that oh my god, go go go, and you're just
The
wow, this
rush.
guy's doing this.
That, have a little perspective. He's like, you hurt my feelings. I'm like,
Yeah.
You're about to be in a whole other world of hurt if you don't fucking use all of this.
Mm.
You can mind speak with people, and you're splitting hairs about who you should be mind speaking with. Fuck, Rune. Just my god. But they end up getting captured anyway because Rune's a butthead. So
Well, that is our red flag chords.
We had a couple green flags, we had a couple red flag, we had a lot of green flag action.
We did.
We threw in some green flags there. I liked that.
Yeah, because I feel there wasn't too many crazy red flags, but I love mentioning green flags because I think it's good to learn about them.
Good. Yeah, absolute.
So now it's time to get into the realm. What's up in our realm?
Oh, I'm out here reading because here's the thing. I'm at a point in my year where things are a little bit quieter, work wise. I'm getting a little bit more time on my hands.
Love that.
And you know what that means? Reading. It's what I love to do. So I'm actually in the last 100 pages it's like tumbling toward the end, and I'm very excited, of a book called The Sacred Space Between by Kaylee Reed. Very good, very like dark, like windswept moors and magic and shit. I like it.
Love it.
Yeah, so I'm very, very intrigued to see what's going to happen. I'm going to be starting Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingslover.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm co-reading that with somebody, and then I have I think for my book club with my high school friends, I have Assistant to the Villain, which is up next,
Oh
and
yeah.
then yeah, and then of course, above all else, for the plot for the pod, Crescent City 3.
Yeah.
She is yes. She is a thickum. She's a thick
She
babe.
is.
Yeah, she puts the triple C in thick.
Yeah, she's
so
36 more pages than the second one. I looked this morning.
we were trying to like eyeball it, like looking at the books, and it's like, is this the same or is this more or less? So wow, good to know that it's 36 more pages. Yeah, and it's crazy to me how close we are to
I know.
to the whole. This has been such a journey. Anyway, what is in your realm? What are you reading? What are you doing? What's up?
So obviously, Crescent City 3 up next. We got to get her started because she is worthy of a lot of my time. We have that. Also, this upcoming weekend, we're having a little book bestie trip, and we're going to be reading Funny Story by Emily Henry.
That's right, dude. I forgot about the co-read on Funny Story. So in the order, Funny Story is up there.
Yeah,
dude. I went and bought it yesterday. I was like, I gotta get ready.
I'm so excited.
Weekend. But we will keep you updated on all things bookish. The next time you hear from us, we will have Book Girl Weekend, so we'll be able to just fangirl and dish about that as well.
Yeah.
But if any of today's topics were triggering or upsetting, please make sure to seek out individualized mental health treatment. And remember, this podcast is for fun. It's based on our own opinions and experiences, and it should not be used for diagnosing, assessing, or treating mental health conditions. Our next episode, out on June 17th, will cover House of Flame and Shadow. Ooh, the last book in our SJM verse review. So be on the lookout for that. If you'd like to support us or interact with us, please make sure to subscribe, and rate the podcast on the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, or YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at fanfablespod. Email us at fanfablespod@gmail.com. And guess what? We have merch. So if you go to the link tree in our Instagram, you can find our essay page, and you could go get merch and support us that way as well. So thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
All right. Bye.